She began as the clear-voiced, country-influenced singer for 60s folk rockers the Stone Ponies, where she covered tunes by the likes of Mike Nesmith and Tim Buckley. That knack for choosing material served Linda Ronstadt well in the second half of the 70s, when she became a pop superstar interpreting songs by everyone from Dave Edmunds and Elvis Costello to Chuck Berry and Roy Orbison. Subsequently, she has shown her diversity by cutting albums of jazz standards, traditional Mexican music, and pure country. While Linda was a student at Arizona State University, she met guitarist Bob Kimmel. The duo moved to Los Angeles, where guitarist-songwriter Kenny Edwards joined the pair. Calling themselves the Stone Ponies, the group became a leading attraction on California's folk circuit, recording their first album in 1967. The band's second album, Evergreen Volume 2, featured the top 20 hit Different Drum, which was written by Michael Nesmith. After recording one more album with the group, Ronstadt left for a solo career at the end of 1968. Her first two solo albums, Hand Sewn Homegrown 1969 and Silk Purse in 1970, accentuated her country roots, featuring several honky-tonk numbers. Released in 1971, her self-titled third album was a pivotal record in her career. Featuring a group of session musicians who would later form the Eagles, the album was a softer, more laid-back variation of the country rock she had been recording, with the inclusion of songs from singer-songwriters like Jackson Browne, Neil Young, and Eric Anderson. Linda had folk rock connections as well. Don't Cry Now, released in 1973, followed the same formula to greater success, yet it was 1974's Heart Like a Wheel that perfected the sound, making Linda a star. Featuring the hit covers You're No Good, When Will I Be Loved, and It Doesn't Matter Anymore, Heart Like a Wheel reached number 1 and sold over 2 million copies. Released in the fall of 1975, Prisoner in Disguise followed the same pattern as Heart Like a Wheel and was nearly as successful. Hasten Down the Wind, released in 1976, suggested a holding pattern even if it charted higher than Prisoner in Disguise. Simple Dreams, 1977, expanded the formula by adding a more rock-oriented supporting band, which breathed life into the Rolling Stones' Tumbling Dice and Warren Zevon's Poor, Poor, Pitiful Me. The record became the singer's biggest hit, staying on top of the charts for 5 weeks and selling over 3 million copies. With Living in the USA, 1978, Linda began experimenting with new wave, recording Elvis Costello's Allison. The album was another number 1 hit. On 1980's Mad Love, she made a full-fledged new wave record, recording 3 Costello songs and adopting his synth-laden sound. While the album was a commercial success, it signaled that her patented formula was beginning to run out of steam. That suspicion was confirmed with 1982's Get Closer, her first album since Heart Like a Wheel, to fail to go to platinum. Sensing it was time to change direction, Ronstadt starred in the Broadway production of Gilbert and Sullivan's Pirates of Penzance, as well as the accompanying movie. Pirates of Penzance led the singer to a collaboration with Nelson Riddle, who arranged and conducted her 1983 collection of pop standards, What's New? While it received lukewarm reviews, it was a considerable hit, reaching number 3 on the charts and selling over 2 million copies. Ronstadt's next 2 albums, Lush Life 1984 and For Sentimental Reasons 1986, were also albums of pre-rock standards recorded with Riddle. At the end of 1986, Ronstadt returned to her contemporary pop, recording Somewhere Out There, the theme to the animated American Tail with James Ingram. The single became a number 2 hit. She also returned to her country roots in 1987, recording the trio album with Dolly Parton and Emmylou Harris. The album was enough of a success that she reunited with Parton and Harris for another collaboration, 1999's Trio 2. The 2 trio albums and a number of unreleased tracks were later compiled into a box set 2016's The Complete Trio Collection. In 1987, Linda also recorded Canciones de mi Madre, a set of traditional Mexican songs that became a surprise hit. 2 years later, she recorded Cry Like a Rainstorm, Howl Like the Wind, her first contemporary pop album since 1982's Get Closer, featuring 4 duets with Aaron Neville, including the number 2 hit, Don't Know Much, that over 2 million copies. Ronstadt returned to traditional Mexican and Spanish material with Más Canciones, 1991, and Frenesi in 1992. She returned to pop with 1994's Winter Light, which failed to generate a hit single, as did 1995's Feels Like Home. In 1996, she released the children's album dedicated to the one I love. We Ran followed in 1998, and 2 years later, Linda delivered the holiday collection, A Merry Little Christmas. Another collection of standards, Hummin' to Myself, arrived in 2004, followed by Adieu, False Heart, a collaboration with Anne Savoy of the Savoy Doucet Cajun Band in 2006. As it turned out, Adieu False Heart would be Ronstadt's last studio album. She supported it with a tour in 2007, including an appearance at the New Fork Folk Festival, and although it didn't rise above 146 on the Billboard charts, it did receive a Grammy nomination for Best Traditional Folk Album. In 2010, she appeared on the Chieftains' San Patricio album, but a year later, she told the Arizona Daily Star she was retired. 3 years later, she published her autobiography, Simple Dreams, a musical memoir, and in its pre-release publicity, Ronstadt confessed that she had Parkinson's disease, explaining that it was a factor in her retirement. Early in 2014, she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Although she wasn't able to attend, an intergenerational all-star group performed in her honor, including Emmylou Harris, Stevie Nicks, Bonnie Raitt, Sheryl Crow, and Carrie Underwood. Around the time of her induction, the compilation Duets was released on Rhino. In early 2019, Ronstadt released Live in Hollywood, an archival album documenting a concert she gave in 1980, which originally aired on HBO.